Call the regular city council meeting Monday, February 2017 order. Clerk call roll, please.
Alderman Putoff.
Here.
Ferrari.
Here.
Waldorf.
Here.
Prokosius.
Here.
Radke.
Here.
Sapienza. Payton.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Mayor Harrell.
Here, please rise for pledge of allegiance. Okay, Claudia from the Friends for Peru Pool would like to remind us of something. I don't know yet.
I want to thank all of you who bought the Bergner's booklets the last time, and I wanted to remind you all the pre-sale started yesterday, and the official sale is this week, so use your books to get the value out of them this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay, just an update. Saturday was the BB Gun Club, our annual shoot with Oglesby. And it was in this building. It was a very nice day. There was quite a few people down there, and 6 shooters from each city. And Oglesby retained their trophy by 16 shots. It was 18 shots last year. It was down to 16. But the kids have a great time, and it was a nice day. Well, actually, did you say hi to the coach? Oh, fire the coach. They did actually, Oglesby shooters and their coaches, they did give a demonstration on their stance that they use and with helping our shooters. So it was a nice day, real nice day. With 360 shots, 16 difference, so good day. Public comment on any agenda items? Does anybody fill out a card?
No, Your Honor.
Do we have a motion to receive the minutes and place on file?
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Have a motion and a second to receive minutes, place on file. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Do we have a motion to receive the financial reports and place on file?
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Have a motion and a second to receive the financial reports, place on file. Is there any discussion?
I think one note you see in your packet, the sales tax report came out through the months of November, and the city's up $17,940 as compared to last year. So going into December, we should receive over $10 million in sales tax for the year, which is quite an accomplishment as far as retail sales. And that should probably run about, by the end of the year, probably fairly comparable to what last year's are. You've seen a big jump earlier in the fall and spring, and I think that was really towards the big car sales. A lot of dealers set records, and you see that in the national press. And now it's kind of fallen back into line. So your CRs come out about the same as it was last year, and when we go to budgeting purposes, we should probably look at that amount again for the next year.
Last year was a record sales tax year for the city of Peru, right? So this year we're going to be right on there, maybe a little below, maybe a little above, but.
Yeah, we're 17,000 ahead of last year's pace, so we'll see what December brings.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Activity reports, we have a motion to receive the activity reports and place on
So
file.
moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second to receive the activity reports placed on file. Is there any discussion? I know the water wastewater treatment plant's annual report, there's a lot of information in there. A lot of information. Yeah, no, those were great. If there's no comment, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. So we're up to committee reports. Finance Safety Service, Chairman Putoff.
Alderman Radke, would you give us disbursements?
Yes, Your Honor. First thing is disbursements, total disbursements to be paid on February 22nd, 2017 is $2,015,219.60. I move that this report be received, placed on file, and billed in the usual manner.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to receive the disbursements, place on file, and pay the bills in the usual manner. Is there any discussion? We'll have a roll call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Alderman Payton, would you give us an update on the airport liability insurance?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion that we
renew our Illinois Valley Regional Airport's liability insurance with AGI, the insurance company, to River Valley Insurance for an annual premium of $8,896. We raised our limits from last year from $20 million to $40 million on our general liability and our Henry Keepers policy across the board. And this gives us ample coverage for anything out at the airport now.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Have a motion, a second, any discussion? A roll call, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Motion approved.
Alderman Ferrari, would you let us know on the North Central Area Transit?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to authorize a $5,000 contribution for the North Central Illinois Area Transit.
I'll second that.
Have a motion, a second, to authorize $5,000 contribution for the North Central Area Transit, also known as NCAT. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, just talking to the City Council, we felt it was very important that we keep the service alive. It does help a lot of people with mass transit through either their workplaces and different areas, hospital appointments, shopping appointments, and it has been real effective in our community. So we felt it was important to help fund this. We have done that in the past.
Any other discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Motion approved.
I move that we authorize execution of a corporate authorization resolution with Streeter Owen, is that how you say it? Streeter Owen Credit Union.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
This is because we invested some CDs with Streeter, we have to have this resolution, is that correct?
Yes, it is. They originally sent us a not-for-profit form they wanted us to fill out, so this is what we came up with.
And what happens on this is the finance officer, city treasurer, and finance committee reviews CDs that have come to maturity, and what they do is they seek out the best percentage rate for the city of Peru. And upon that, they found that Streeter Credit Union had the best, maturity rate for the CD of $250,000, and it was advised that we do purchase that.
Okay, and that is for a certain time period as well, because the rates obviously are always changing, so just to clarify. At that time, it was the best rate in the market, within probably 100-mile radius.
And it's also important to note that the $250,000 is insured, FDIC insured, and that's always important too when you look at how much assets you have in various banks.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, tonight I have a motion to authorize the execution of the final documents for the City of Peru, LaSalle, and Bureau Counties Illinois General Obligation Refunding Bond, Series 217. This is something we've talked about in the City Council, and what it's doing is refinancing an electric department obligation that we've had for the hydro, and by refinancing this bond, the rate was set at 2.52%, which is a very, very good rate, and you're seeing a city savings of $521,628 over the term of this bond. So it was an excellent time. We talked about a little bit of the refinancing details in previous minutes, and we talked about a little bit about what the city had to go through to get that bond rating that allowed us to have that great percentage rate of 2.52%. If you noticed in the newspaper, I think recently LP High School had a bond that they went out, and they were in the range of 3.25. So this is a percentage less than that, and a very good percentage. and of course, savings will be over $500,000 for the city of Pearl.
Just on top of that, it just shows the financial stability of the city, and how it's compared to what the school district has to go through.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Is there any further discussion?
I think the one important point is this is not new debt. This is a debt from the hydro plan that went into effect in 91, and basically it's reissuing that debt for the savings. So sometimes taxpayers may get confused to say, well, geez, the city's going out to refund or for more debt, which isn't the case at all. We're just refinancing those bonds.
And this is paid with electric utility receipts. There's no property tax that is paid for this bond.
And traditionally, the city has abated those bonds for as long as I can remember.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Some additional items, too, I just wanted to point out is the city, too, is working on, I guess, a business concept for our downtown redevelopment. We've looked at a couple of different things. One is, of course, the TIF, and we're going to be pursuing that. And also, we've all got copies of some community reinvestment for the downtown area that we'll be discussing that in the further areas. Things like awning, business development, making funds available for those businesses in downtown Peru.
There's still one item here. So I move that we execute the reinvestment of CDs not to exceed $250,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to execute reinvestment of CDs not to exceed $250,000. Is there any discussion? A roll call vote. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Motion approved. Anything further from Finance Safety Services? Okay, we'll move on to Public Services. Chairman Waldorf?
Yes, sir. Alderman Ballard, would you take us through the mausoleum rehab project bidders, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to award the mausoleum rehab project packages to the lowest responsible bidders. General bid package to Autobahn in the amount of $83,490. An HVAC bid package to Chapman Mechanical Systems in the amount of $34,820. A roofing bid package to RA Holding Roofing in the amount of $74,627. And a stained glass package to Brooks Art Glass in the amount of $30,000.
Your Honor, I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to award the mausoleum rehab project packages to the lowest responsible bidders, all listed below. Is there any discussion?
This is the ongoing rehab of the mausoleum. Over the years, there have been some issues that have come up with the mausoleum, some of them serious. We've been looking at this for quite some time and putting it together, and these are the final bid packages. Eric, do you have any more to add to that?
Yeah, just add a little on the bid opening day of. We had a good response. We had 9 bidders. We had a minimum of 3 bids for each of the packages. We had offered in the package also that you could bid as a combination, which should allow you to bid packages 1, 2, and 3, the general HVAC and the roofing together. However, those combination bids that we received weren't as low as the single packages themselves. So that's the reason that we have the 4 separate contractors there. Did speak with Dave Leonardi, our architect, and knowing a few of these contractors myself, we have a good listing of contractors here, so we both are recommending favorably to award each of the contracts.
I noticed that the marble isn't among these bids.
The marble is included within the general bid package.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
The only one is RAOD. I've not heard of them. Where are they from?
Ottawa. If I remember correctly.
Okay, is there any discussion, further discussion? We'll have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Aye.
Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to award the landfill sampling and monitoring to PDC Laboratories in the amount of $13,712 for landfill number 2, base bid plus alternate, and $3,284 for landfill number 3, base bid.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Aye.
Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
And next, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to award the East Wastewater Treatment Plant Clarifier upgrades to the lowest responsible bidder, Leander Construction, in the amount of $1,176,900.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Now, this is going to be broke up into 2 seasons, correct?
That's correct. This project is mandated project that Chris and I met with the EPA on back in the fall. It is going to be span over 2 fiscal years, so we'll do one of the clarifiers this year, and then next year improvements to the second clarifier. So roughly a little over $500,000 for each clarifier.
So what do they actually do?
The clarifier is part of the main treatment as far as settling solids, and there's equipment down in that clarifier that picks up the solid and puts them into another tank. The equipment that's there was put in the 1960s, and it's to the point now where it's just starting to fail. And on top of that, it's currently a moving bridge type of a system, where now we're going to go with a stationary drive like they all are. And when we first started this whole project, the stationary drive was primarily what we were concerned with, but then that led to several other things, you know. Now that the bridge isn't going to be able to move, how do we adjust the air valves? We can't just walk on top of the tanks. The air system needs to be in the valving, needs to move to the outside of the tank. Basically, one thing we're trying to fix here created 9 other problems that we're dealing with. But basically, when it's all said and done, you know, we have 1960s equipment that's going to be upgraded, and it'll be for the next 40, 50 years now. You know, this is something that, whether you like it or not, is going to be coming within the next several years anyway. So, and on top of it, it was, you know, kind of mandated, you know, the EPA and some of the issues we're having. So.
Yeah, when Chris and I had met with the EPA back in the fall, they stressed to us that they'd like to see one done this fiscal year and one next fiscal year. And then in addition to Chris's comments, that kind of plays into the next motion that'll be on the agenda with the engineering agreement. There were significant changes in scope that we incurred, so.
And with that,
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari. Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
I'd like to correct myself. R.A. Oldine's office is Kiwanee. The individual from there was from Ottawa.
next, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to execute an engineering agreement with Jamlin and Associates for the East Wastewater Treatment Plant bar screen and Walker process tank modification.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just again, in summary, as Chris had just mentioned, we had some significant scope changes throughout this process. We started 2 years ago and originally thought we would just be messing with a small portion of it, which turned into multiple different facets that need to be re-engineered.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Next, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve a quote from, make a motion to execute an engineering agreement with Chamlin and Associates for the construction of the northern extension taxiway at the Illinois Valley Regional Airport.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Peyton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, I would like to make a motion to approve a quote from Complete Integration and Services for soft start motor control at well number 7 in the amount of $10,000, please.
I'll second that.
A motion a second to approve the quote for $10,000. Is there any discussion?
Chris, please.
Yes, this is a soft start for well number 7. Again, we have some equipment in our well buildings, the motor starters that turn the wells on and off. This is going to be a soft start for well 7. This equipment was put in late 60s, early 70s. It's all starting to get old and fail. You can't get parts for it anymore if you do have issues with certain parts of the magnetic starters. We would eventually like to do not only well 7, but 5 and 6 also. Wells 8 and 9 have updated controls already. So we received a few quotes. This is from Complete Integration that uses Allen Bradley products. Currently, our entire system is Allen Bradley. The other quote was Square D, which is not a big deal, but the whole system's already Allen Bradley. They were only a couple $100 apart, so we're just recommending going with the Allen Bradley stuff with the local company that's in town here, so.
Yeah, Allen Bradley's the market leader and all that, so you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Well, and then we're apples to apples.
Yeah, yep.
Where's well 7 at, Chris?
It's the one kind of by the red door, right there by the red door.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Peyton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Lastly, Your Honor, I would like to make a motion to seek bids for the splash pad.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to seek bids for the splash pad. Is there any discussion?
The only thing I'd say, I just asked Eric before the meeting, we had that big easel out there that's got the approved, ranked 5th for business or whatever. It'd be nice to have something like that with the splash pad arrangement on it, so people come in and out of City Hall, they could see what's coming, you know.
We have a colored site plan that we
Yeah.
have submitted to IDNR that we can make a larger poster of it.
I've had a couple of people ask me if you have pictures of that, and I said, well, there's probably something in the lobby of City Hall, but it'd be nice if we had that.
Yeah, we'll-
Time when they're due back in?
We'll put,
The bids are due, it's roughly 4 weeks from today. So we're hoping for an award at the last meeting in March, March 20th meeting. So give us a week to analyze the bids and bring them back to the committee and council.
Do you have a guesstimate as to when that project will start?
If we award a bid in March, it's gonna be a few weeks for contracts, so I would say May.
And we're looking at a 2018?
2018 opening, yeah. By the time construction's completed, it'll be in the fall sometime. We'll have to test run the system, of course, chemicals dialed in, and then winterize it. So it'll be a summer of 18 opening.
Very good, thank you.
okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Call the roll, please.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Peyton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, that is finally all from Public Services.
Then we don't need a motion or anything for this.
Yeah, you're required to read it into
Yeah.
the record.
Okay, under special business, the announcement of public meeting for proposed Peru downtown TIF district. The meeting, public meeting for proposed Peru downtown TIF district, when? Monday, March 20th, 2017, at 5:30, where? Peru City Hall, 1901 4th Street, Peru, Illinois. The purpose is to enable the city to advise the public, taxing districts having real property in the redevelopment project area, taxpayers who own property in the redevelopment project area, and residents in the area as to the city's possible intent to prepare a TIF district redevelopment plan and designate a redevelopment project area and to receive public comment on Monday, March 20th at 5:30, Peru City Hall. Then we'll move on to reports from the city attorney, ordinances, resolutions.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, I have an ordinance to authorize the establishment of tax increment financing interested parties registry and adopting registration rules for such registries for the City of Peru Downtown Tax Increment Financing District.
I'll make a motion that the ordinance be adopted as written and read.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Putoff, a second by Alderman Waldorf, to adopt the ordinance as written and read. Is there any questions? I called because we've sat and met with all the taxing bodies that'll be involved in this TIF, which is LaSalle County, the board chairman, Jerry Hicks. We sat down with Jerry Hicks, plus I talked to him today, and Mark Cross from Peru Public Schools, Steve Robleski from LP, and Jerry Corcoran from IVCC, just to let them know that it's on the agenda and it'll be in the news tomorrow. And I didn't want to blindside them because we're keeping open communication with all of our taxing bodies on this. So they all know about it. We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke. Sapienza. Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Next, I have a resolution authorizing a license agreement for Weiss Broad LLC at 1402 Peoria Street, Peoria, Illinois. This is Mark Allen's restaurant. They're putting in an ADA accessible ramp. The license fee is going to be $25 annually.
I'll make a motion that the resolution be adopted as read and read.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution as written and read. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Aye.
Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved.
Finally, I have a resolution authorizing highway authority agreement between Premcor Refining Group, Inc. and the City of Peru concerning environmental remediation of property at 2909 4th Street, Peru, Illinois. This is the old Clark's station that's been under remediation for several years. Essentially what the agreement does is puts responsibility on the property owner for any costs incurred by the city due to petroleum contamination found in the right-of-way, increased costs of working in the right-of-way.
It doesn't place the city in any obligation.
For the increased cost of the specific contamination, it puts on the property owner. We have some additional obligations with respect to notice requirements if we're doing work in the right-of-way, but generally that's what the agreement provides.
If we take on any improvements within the right-of-way, we then notify the property owner who is responsible for those remediations. Any costs incurred during our infrastructure upgrades are the responsibility of that owner. So it takes it off of the city.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution as written and read.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution as written and read. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Motion approved.
That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, move on to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd just like to ask City Engineer what the status is of Veterans Park, the Senior League Diamond.
Yeah, currently, I spoke with Mr. Oleski today over at the high school. I met with John Kohar, the contractor, on site Friday. In order to correct the grading at the ball diamond, we had to trim some sod around the perimeter of the base path and infield. Given the time of year, it's hard to get sod. So the base paths down first and third base are cut a little bit wider than they would normally be. We're going to go ahead and place the infield material now, and if it becomes problematic, there's a window in March when there aren't any games being played, about a 3.5 week window. If sod is available, we'll then install the sod at that time.
So the drainage problem is corrected, we're just
Yeah,
doing...
they're working on it currently.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have one item for old business. I passed out tonight an advance copy of the second volume of Food Pride. Everybody here has one tonight, including the audience. These will be arriving in people's mailbox. this week sometime, so I wanted you all to have a copy. Obviously, you can take your time to go through this. Staff's been working on this for over the last year since we finished the first one, and, you know, we really received a lot of positive feedback last year. You'll see the theme for the most part in this year's edition focuses on the many volunteers that work for the city on the various boards, the planning commission, and pension boards and that sort of thing. You know, we also recognize Joe Hogan and Bill Blasnick individually. You'll be interested to know, if you didn't realize it, Bill's been serving the city as a continuous volunteer on the police and fire board for 52 years, which is pretty amazing. Former Mayor Baker asked him, as you'll see in the article. We also included, obviously, very important part on page 2, in memoriam to Mayor Donald Baker. Obviously, that was critically important to get into this year's edition. And then with the inaugural TBM Avenger, we all know how much of a big deal that's turned out last year, and obviously is going to continue to grow. So we wanted to profile that. Page 9 and 10 covers color photos of the splash pad. So, as Alderman Radke said, if we could get that picture in a large display, pictures, it tells a lot, 1,000 words, that's for sure. And then we had Eric work on putting together a piece towards the end on everything that's going on with the Northwest Road improvements. Obviously, that's going to be a major thing for the city moving forward and for our future, you know, commercial growth up that way. So we covered a lot in this, and just wanted you all to have an advanced copy. It'll be in your mailboxes this week.
Thank you.
Anything else under unfinished? New business, any new business? Okay, petitions, communications, do we have any?
No, Your Honor.
Public comment, do we have any public comment? Anybody? Something? Something? Public comment? There you go. Hopefully we're not gonna pay for this beautiful weather that we're having for a while. We'll find out, but, okay. That's good public comment, talking about the good weather we're having. Need for a closed session? No, so a motion for adjournment.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second? Have a motion, a second for adjournment. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.